Mr. Chabot.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and thank you very much for holding this hearing. I think this was very important for you to do so, and I know that you have personally been very involved in this issue for many, many years, and I think members on both sides of the aisle respect your dedication and your commitment to it. I haven't been to the region or to Kosovo nearly as many times as you have been there. Learned a lot when I was, and coincidentally, the Dayton Accords occurred just up the road from my district. I represent Cincinnati, Ohio. Dayton is just north of my district. And I saw you nodding, Dr. Williams. My first question I wanted to ask you, and the ranking member, Mr. McCall, I got a sense from him, he's as outraged as a lot of us are about how the UN, the world has really, I think, failed miserably in this. The Dayton Accords did get the war more or less ended, at least the physical shooting and the bombings and that type of thing. But in holding guilty parties accountable, it has just failed miserably. And hearing especially the two witnesses that felt this with their families, it's horrific what you all had to go to. And the courage of you coming here again today puts all of us, I think on both sides, in awe that you're able to come before a committee like this and testify. So thank you for doing that. It's important that the world hear this. So I guess, Dr. Williams, let me just ask you this. As horrible as this has been, there are other atrocities and mass killings that have occurred. Obviously, Rwanda comes to mind, Cambodia, South Africa, as far as the reconciliation afterwards. Is there anything that we can learn from how they handled some of these things that did or didn't happen here? Or what can we learn? Because we need to learn as much as possible from this.
Thank you. By way of full disclosure, my father's family is from Dayton, Ohio. Oh. So it's, we're kindred spirits there. The thing we can learn, there's two things we can learn about dealing with accountability and reconciliation. The first is it's important to understand the nature of the individuals that we've negotiated with to create the Dayton Accords, to create the Rambouillet Accords, and what sort of countermeasures must be subsequently employed. 3 of the 4 signatories of the Dayton Accords, Krajisnik, Milosevic, and Tudjman, were indictable or indicted for war crimes. Krajisnik and Milosevic were indicted. Tudjman died before. The prosecutor said she was about to indict him. The 2 chief negotiators for Serbia at the Rambouillet Accords, Milutinovic and Shinovic, were also both indicted for crimes against humanity. So you have to bear in mind that while we negotiate, or the UN negotiates with these individuals to get to yes, to get a peace agreement, you're not going to find justice as part of the peace process, which is why you have these tribunals. And what we found in Sierra Leone, in the Ivory Coast, in Rwanda, in Cambodia, and in other places where there's tribunals, is you need a holistic approach. You need an accurate historical record, which the tribunals, but also truth commissions, non-amnesty-based truth commissions, help to provide. You need victim catharsis. So in Rwanda, there was the genocide. The International Tribunal prosecuted nearly 60 individuals, but then you had local prosecutions and you had gacaca courts at the community, and over 100,000 individuals have been processed through the system that Rwanda created. So the victims have their say. In a tribunal, it's the perpetrators who have their say. They're the ones on trial. Milosevic represented himself. But in truth commissions or localized mechanisms or in these hybrid type of tribunals that the specialist chambers could be, you have the opportunity for victims representation, victims counsel. And then you need more memorialization and you need recognition. And it must be a comprehensive package. You haven't had that in Kosovo, and that lesson hasn't been learned from all of these other tribunals that we've seen. So negotiate peace with whoever you have to, indict and hold accountable those responsible for atrocity crimes, and then expand that mechanism and develop other mechanisms for victim catharsis, historical record, and importantly, as Madam President had noted, to deny collective guilt. And I was very careful in my testimony to talk about Serbian regime perpetrators, because although it's tens of thousands, It's not millions, and it's not the entire Serbian population. And you need to identify and pull out those responsible so that there's a denial of collective guilt, and you can have reconciliation and durable peace.
Thank you very much. And Mr. Chairman, my time's expired. If I could just thank the panel again for their tremendous testimony, and hopefully we will, as a nation, along with the world, act upon this. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.